Hi, this is Evelyn Puerto, and I'm back with another weekly writing update. I've been hard at work on The Girl Who Wrote on Water and have just about hit 54,000 words, and I'm about at the midpoint for the protagonist's main character arc. So that's about it. Oh, and one more thing, I was on the Writer's Lounge podcast last night, and I will post the link in the comments in case you would like to check it out. That concludes our writing update for today. And with that, I will get into reading Flight of the Spark. We're finishing up chapter 3 today. Gasping for breath, she ran on, scrambling over fallen trees, breaking the underbrush as she staggered on the uneven ground. She felt as though she couldn't breathe, her panic squeezing all the air from her lungs. "You're making me mad, girl." He was close behind her, his breath loud and rasping. Ugh. Iskra heard a heavy thud and the crackling of underbrush. She spun around and saw an arrow in the bandit's knee, blood staining his pants. She looked around wildly to see where the arrow had come from. The bandit sat up and wrenched the arrow from his leg. He seized his hunting knife and pulled his arm back, as if to hurl it at Iskra. Another arrow lodged in his eye and he fell backward. A muscular, dark-haired man ran up and slit the bandit's throat. A taller man carrying a bow joined him. He pulled the arrow from the bandit's eye and picked up the other one. What made him come this far from the road? The first man pointed at Iskra. "She's his prey, I'll warrant." He took a step toward her, concern etched on his copper-brown face. "Are you hurt?" She stepped back, holding her shaking hands out in front of her. "No, don't touch me." He laughed. "As long as you're not a bandit or a war boar, you're safe enough with us. I'm Tarkio, and I think I've seen you in Gishan." "Yes, I'm Iskra." Now she noticed he wore the brown clothing and short boots of the traders. "You're a trader, right?" She lowered her hands slowly. Maybe she wasn't going to come to some horrible end in the forest today. "That I am." He pointed at the other man. "This is Hiko." "Hiko?" She repeated the strange name. He was a little younger than Tarkio and had vivid green eyes and dark hair that fell in loose curls around his golden-tanned face, much longer hair than a village man's. He wore a leather vest over a red shirt, not the clothes of a villager. Who was he? Hiko studied her for a moment. "Come with us. We can take care of the wounds on your face." Iskra touched her burning cheek. Feeling the wetness, she pulled her hand away and gasped to see blood on her fingers. "You're not a bandit, are you?" "You would call me a risker, but we aren't what you think." She stared at him wide-eyed as he turned and walked to the campfire, Tarkio following. Iskra stayed where she was, watching the two men walk a short distance between the trees. They doused the fire and picked up their bundles. Hiko called to her. "Coming? I live not too far from here." "Here? In the woods?" "In Zafrad, a risker camp." She looked from him to Tarkio. "Go with a risker? Impossible." "Tarkio, I can't. It's not allowed." Villagers were strictly forbidden to associate with the savage riskers. "It's not safe." "Then you can stay here with the war boars or wait for more bandits," Tarkio said, "if you think that would be safer." He smiled at Hiko and the two men started walking along a trail through the trees. Iskra stood motionless. She'd spent her whole life striving to stay out of trouble, and now she was about to commit one of the worst crimes a villager could commit. How will I get over the shame? She knew her mother would rather she died in a bandit attack than associate with riskers. She looked around at the deepening shadows, listened to the rustling trees. With no other choice, hand pressed to her mouth to keep her fear in check, Iskra stumbled after Tarkio and Hiko, accompanied by the raucous cawing of a crow. And that concludes Chapter 3. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.